Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host as always, Steve Hall. We are going over episode 141 with Joe Bennett, aka the Hypertrophy Coach. Let's get into the takeaway points. Takeaway point number one is that it's super important to have both execution and effort within your training. If you have execution with no effort, you're not going to be overloading. If you have all the effort without execution, you're probably going to injure yourself. So when you're thinking about your training, make sure that you're working hard with great technique. This is something that Joe is very, very particular on. Takeaway point number two is that lots of people, you listening to this podcast, have various inputs for stress. You might have children to take care of. You might have a dog to walk and feed. You might have social occasions or late nights at work. A lot of people have a lot of stress coming in. And so when we're considering training volume, we must be very careful about adding more because this is another stress. Takeaway point number three is that taking a muscle through its full contractile range is different to doing an exercise to its full range of motion. For example, on a squat, the quads can definitely be worked throughout an entire arse to grass squat, right? But if you don't have the ability to do an arse to grass squat safely, then you're going to be putting yourself through something you don't want to do. You potentially will get injured. So whilst that muscle group might be able to be working through an arse to grass squat, you might not be able to do that. So have a think about that when you're doing your own execution on exercises. You might have to limit your range of motion, even if the muscle group can do more. Takeaway point number four is that to make something a good exercise, there are a few check-offs that Joe likes. So that's alignment, good force profile, and also bracing. So when we're thinking about alignment, joints are stacked. This allows us to really push well, like a wrist not being cocked back and that sort of thing. And then we're talking about force profile, that we can actually contract our muscle well throughout the entire force curve. This is why sometimes bands and things can be added to exercises to make that a little bit more even. And then last of all, bracing. So when we're doing maybe something like a machine row, we're really putting our chest against the pad, really holding on and making sure that we're getting full force through our lat rather than being like all weak and all over the place. Bracing can allow us to really put that force through the muscle group we're targeting. Point number five is that at the end of the day, we are humans, not robots. This is something to consider when we're thinking about preferences. This could be food or nutrition. We're not Mr. Olympia. If someone tells us that we have to do something to be 0.01% better, we may well turn that down because it might not suit our preferences, whereas Mr. Olympia may well have to be quite rigid and do that sort of thing. So just consider that when you're thinking about your own training. So guys, I hope you've enjoyed these takeaway points. As always, check out the full episode 141 with Joe Bennett. We will talk to you soon. Take care. Before you go, our favorite quote from today's podcast with Joe is that over the thousands and thousands of people he's worked with, he's never had someone that can't improve on an element of their execution. So take that into consideration, guys, when you are doing your own lifts. Make sure your execution is really, really good. If Joe's worked with thousands and thousands of people, there's a potential chance that you are one of those people that could improve on their execution. So guys, as always, like, comment, subscribe, share this with your friends. We will talk to you soon and revive stronger.